fire fix this. The blood of Jesus remove all sickness, all asthma and all arthritis. In the name of Jesus we bind it. Jesus is the answer. The blood of Jesus beat out the cancer. Break every chain and remove all stain. Declare this again and again. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what to pray and say in the morning. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what to pray and say in the morning. When we plead the blood, principalities get trampled. When we plead the blood, generation curse get dismantled. So cover your children and them, your unsafe family members and them. Christ died on the cross for all of them, so start praying for them. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family.
Blessed good afternoon to all our Hope family. Welcome back to another edition of Team Family. We are so delighted, myself and Adonna, we are so delighted to have you all back with us for another week, another beautiful Sunday afternoon. It's kind of rainy and overcast on the outside, but we give God thanks because it's the day that the Lord has made, and we will surely rejoice and be glad in it. Good afternoon, Adonna. How are you doing today?
Hi, good afternoon. Well, I'm coping. I'm doing pretty okay.
All
Thank
right.
God, yeah.
All right. So, guys, we are back again for another lively and interesting discussion on the family. Don't forget that Team Family is all about building up families, bringing the family together as a team. That's why we say that the TEAM stands for Together We Educate, Affirm, and motivate families. So call up a friend or share the live with a friend. Let them know that Team Family is on, and it's another interesting discussion today. All right, guys. So today we are talking about managing our screen time. All right, and especially so, remember, all right, we know. As a matter of fact, we were kind of putting this towards children, but as a matter of fact, I'm saying each one of us need to learn how to manage our screen time. Yes, we're focusing on the children, but I think this is for all of us. We have to learn how to manage our screen time. All right, and we have a very special guest in the background. He's backstage right now, waiting to come on. So I'm just going to bring him on screen, and then he's going to tell us a little bit about himself. All right, he's going to introduce himself. So, good afternoon, Dr. Singh.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, and welcome. Welcome to Team Family.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, wonderful. So, how are you doing today?
I'm not bad. How are you all doing? How is the weather treating you all?
I like it when it's rainy. It's really
Yeah, me
good.
too.
Yes.
I like the rainy weather too, but
Yeah,
just to be in bed and to kind of cuddle up and just enjoy that, you know.
I guess.
Yes. So it's good to have you. It's good to have you on Hope FM this afternoon, and we welcome you. We'd like you to tell the audience, the listening public, a little bit about yourself and what you do so they can be more acquainted with who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Ryan Singh. I am an optometrist graduated from the University of the West Indies. I work in Clear Vision in Grenville. Uh, Basically, I've been an optometrist for around 6 years now. Uh, been more in the optical setting. That's with Clear Vision. Been a lot in clinical before that.
All right.
Other than that, before that, I did any kind of work you could get. Construction, Pizza Hut, any kind of work I
All
did.
right. But for those who might be wondering, what is I can't even pronounce the name.
Optometrist.
Optometrist.
Optometrist. For those who may be wondering, what exactly is an optometrist? Can you
All right.
explain, give a little?
Okay. So first thing people should understand is, what is an eye doctor on the whole. So when people hear about eye doctor, the first person they're referring to is an optometrist.
Right.
However, in the eye field, there are like three separate, practitioners. There's an optician, optometrist, and an ophthalmologist. So
Okay.
an optician An optician is someone who understands the material, the lens, the glasses, everything to do with your prescription, everything like that. So, how your prescription is made, what goes on with your glasses, the distance between it, everything like that. An optician knows every single thing about that. An optometrist, an optometrist is someone who knows the prescription and the identity of your eye. So we study the eye on the whole from
Right.
a medical standpoint and from a holistic standpoint. So from not just medicine, but a scientific and a vision science behind it. So the physiological parts of the eyes, the way how devices affects your eyes, the way how the environment affects your eyes. And then
Right.
you have an ophthalmologist. An ophthalmologist is someone, if we see something that is a medical problem, we
Right.
refer to ophthalmologists, and they will surgically or sometimes medically, sometimes they use injections as well to treat the eyes, you
Oh,
know. So
nice.
an optometrist more stands as your primary eye care provider, where it's the first person you will see that can tell you anything about your eyes. And they basically have to understand what's going on, know everything that's going on, treat basic things. But when it comes to things like cataract, glaucoma, severe things, we more like to work with an ophthalmologist.
All
So we
right.
work with everything, but we separate. So if there's glasses to be made, we send it to the optician. If you understand what I'm saying.
All
Yeah.
right. We
Yeah.
get you.
Yes.
Yes.
Now
All
we
right.
understand.
All right.
Because I saw everybody as an eye doctor once they're dealing with
Yes, I know, right? Once you hear the opti something, you
Yes.
think it is okay. I something. All right. So,
Yeah.
guys, you realize that Dr. Singh is very knowledgeable about what he's going to be speaking about this evening because he knows about the eyes. All right. So we're talking about managing screen time. All right, this afternoon, and I'll give you an opportunity to maybe talk about. Do you have any children, by the way?
Well, yes, I have one daughter and one on the way.
All right, wonderful.
Nice.
Congratulations. All
Yeah.
right. So maybe we could start off on the foot about talking about the amount of time that children, and as a matter of fact, we're talking
People in
children,
general.
people in general, spend
Yeah. Because we know
on
we're in the age of
right.
science and technology, and everybody have their
Technology.
devices.
Yes.
And a lot of times they spend so much time on it that their eyes start paining. They complain
Right.
that their eyes, they're having headaches,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
things like that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, I have a lot of information to give on it, so it's
So feel free. We'll interrupt you
We'll ask
when
questions
you want to
when we need
ask.
to. Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So I guess the main topic would be device use and how it affects children, and then we could probably speak about with adults and
Yes.
so on.
Yes. Yes.
So with the first thing to understand is why is device use a problem, and then why is device use a problem for children, and then we could specify in the eyes itself.
Okay.
Device use could be recreational,
Mhm.
or it could be something very productive. All right.
Yes.
It's the same way as reading a book. However, in most instances, you will find that reading a book, no matter what you do, could be more or less productive because of the attention span you get from reading the book.
Uh-huh.
The device use, it is taking your eyes, it is using the work of your eyes, but it is not also using the mind as much as a book will capture the span of time.
Okay.
So we could separate these two instances between a book and a device because the both of them is reading. So that's one. The reason why there is a bigger problem with the device as opposed to reading. Now, if you know back in the days, people used to say, hey, you read a lot, you're wearing glasses. People doing PhD a lot, they're reading glasses, they have glasses. We know from long, it has some association with reading close and
And
doing with glasses.
Yes.
There is proof on it, but there was always association. A lot of people, they did a lot of studies after school. They end up with glasses. They do a lot of reading. You see people who do a lot of reading, they have glasses. It's not all the time, but there is an association. It doesn't have to do with devices. Now, other than reading on the text, you are reading on something that emits light. And a device, most device, they utilize a technology that the light it sends out, the wavelength is, well, usually between around 415 to 425 nanometers. Now, we speak in some kind of big words here. These things don't really make sense. Right?
Yeah.
But all that means is the nanometers, it does look like blue light. So on your rainbow, I don't know if when growing up, if they ever taught you all about Roy G. Biv, a rainbow starts, red, orange, yellow, blue, and violet. So the red is the larger wavelengths, then the orange, then the yellow, then the blue, then the violet. Everyone knows ultraviolet light is bad. The reason why ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma rays is bad is because of its low wavelengths. Its ability, because of its low wavelengths, it actually has a longer strand, a longer penetration. It's able to reach into the eyes deeper. So we see a lot more damage from these things, and it's more absorbed by the cells. Not when I say deep, it doesn't have to be like in the eyes, but the cells of the eyes itself, if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
So even with ultraviolet light, we know that it can cause something called pinguecula, a pterygium. This is low wavelength light causing a small growth on the eyes. A lot of people, they mistake it for a cataract. It looks like a little flesh growing on the eyes. And we see associations with these lights and, cataract, pterygium, and right above UV rays, violet rays, is blue light, 415 to about 425. So the concern for device use with most professionals came from, okay, these lights emitting are very similar to the lights that actually cause problems. It's lower wavelength lights. Now, why and how can devices be used? And how is devices a commercial thing that everyone can use? It's because the level of the wavelength, it's not going to cross over what is it a harmful range. So you take ultraviolet light, you put it on cancer cells. We expect within about 2 weeks to a month, the cancer cells to multiply.
Wow.
So in a short period of time, you could see something from the ultraviolet light. This is not something that we see or I know of any study showing it happens with blue light. So there is no test that can say directly the amount of blue light from the devices will cause a damage. Okay.
Okay.
So this is why it can be commercially there. It's not this known factor that blue light will cause a damage.
Right.
However, in Caucasian individuals, what we know is that overuse of computers has been linked to age-related macular degeneration. Macular degeneration is a condition where the retina of your eyes, this is in your eyes, there is a layer that when the light hits it, it sends information to the brain. So this layer constantly, after being exposed to a lot of especially blue lights, and with age, not just blue lights, it degrades. And because of the association, blue light glasses has been recommended to not stop, or just add in an aid in preventing degeneration. So we know that there is some association with blue lights and degeneration of retinal cells. Retinal cells is what we used to see. Now, in this, on this whole kind of a lot of thinking that we gather in here, all that we are understanding is that we have an idea that blue lights can affect retinal cells, but this is in an elderly population. So then what this has to do with children on blue light devices at this moment. Now, if it can be linked to degeneration in elderly people, and children are using it from young, and we don't know the effect within 2 to 3 weeks, what will be the effects of children using it from now
Until
1 hour per day,
right.
40 years?
Mm-hmm.
There is no study that will have to show us this, but
Right.
common sense,
Mm-hmm.
basic understanding, even from all professional optometrist standpoints, should even understand that, look, a a a wavelength, a material that has been known to cause damage, and blue lights can cause damage in high amounts. It's just not being caused in the low amounts in the devices right away. In industrial certain, I did read and I did see that in certain industrial settings, you must wear blue light protection because of the amount of blue lights emitting from the equipment itself.
Okay.
It's just that devices, the commercial device, it wouldn't cause these things right away. There have been studies that showed that device use can cause retinal ganglion cells degradation. This is also in the retina. Retina has 10 layers. So some studies will show it, but we wouldn't have 10,000 people studies showing it to say, okay, look, this is something that's there. Look, even when cigarette was causing cancer, it took 30, 50, 60, 70 years for people to even believe it.
Right.
So gathering and just trying to look at proof and understanding why blue lights is a problem, it just doesn't make sense. The basic idea is to understand that, look, it's there. Common sense means that there could be a problem, and we should avoid as much time on the devices as possible.
All right.
So-
just to interrupt for just a second, right? So we don't have, as you said, with the cigarettes, it took years to actually have the proof to show that these things happen. So I think in this case, it is wise. Wisdom will say, all right, as you're saying, to protect yourself and to protect your children. So in other words, decrease
limit
some
the
of the
exposure.
limit the exposure, limit the screen time. Would you also recommend, I know you spoke about the blue light glasses, are they those for children, adults, and would you think I know there's not solid proof of it being linked necessarily to blindness or whatever, but would you recommend that this could possibly be something that can be used to protect or to prevent, further damage in the future? Do you have, as we would say, do you have a lot of faith in this? Personally, in your personal opinion.
Okay. Well, definitely, I find that blue light glasses, it's the same as a filter to a cigarette.
Okay.
It might help, but at the same time, you're still doing it. Just 1 second.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, because as he was speaking and I'm listening, he talked about different wavelengths and different, light, and
A lot of technical stuff there.
But the blue light is affecting the most senior population.
Right.
But what you are saying is that it just take common sense to say that if you expose it for most of your life.
Yes,
Because
from the child, and these days
from
children, children not only spending an hour on the device, it's hours.
they're spending like
Most of them
almost all the
hours,
day.
hours. So
Yeah,
I definitely understand,
yeah,
there's wisdom in limiting the screen time, because most times with parents we just, they're on their tablet, they're playing a game, we need to do stuff and just kind of leave them, and sometimes they're hours on this device.
Mhm.
It's time that we really take a hold of what's happening, and start making some serious decisions that will really help them in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Now this is only speaking on the light part as well. Device comes with many, many, many things. It
Yes,
comes
yes.
con nail looking
Hmm.
as well. Now the lights, it will go into the eyes, and we could say for sure in studies that we believe it will affect the eyes. I professionally know that device use in the future, in my basic understanding and expertise, it will lead to, if there is someone that never used devices his whole life, and there's someone who used devices, it would lead to more complications in the eyes. It's
Right.
a basic understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, as opposed to if you're on your pancreas, someone who eats a lot of sugar for the whole life,
Hmm.
the pancreas will obviously have whether you're diabetic or not, you don't have to be diabetic. You could just categorize it in a different sense. It will be a little more degraded if you eat a lot more sugar for your whole life.
Yes, we understand.
Mhm.
Using close devices, not just phones, there is a muscle around the eyes. There are 6 muscles that control the eyes to move about. And in children, these muscles, they can be plastic. Plastic meaning it can be changed up until the age of around 12. We see this in vision therapy. So some people say it finishes around 2 years, that binocular vision finishes, but binocular vision, the vision that both eyes move together, it finishes around 2 years. It doesn't mean it's stable around 2 years. It can still continue, and it can still be changed after that 2 years itself. Now, looking close, it causes the two. Let's say this is my eye. Imagine there is a muscle pulling one eye in and the other eye in. And the brain has to learn how to pull 2 eyes in at the same time. So when we read, it has to learn to pull 2 eyes in. And that's 2 separate muscles, like both hands working together. And we don't think about this, but our eyes, it does that. Just like we don't move, or we can't just move our hands in sync, but our eyes does it.
Okay.
After training from birth, when a
Okay.
child is born, both eyes move separately.
Oh, awesome.
So a person now is designed to develop this binocular vision characteristic, and their eyes would learn to work together. And a person, they don't, from a child is downward. So a child is always down. The closest thing to a child is their hands. So it's around 10 centimeters away. Their mother's face, 20 centimeters away. It's fairly close. But as you get older, 1.5, 2 years, the child begins to stand up and looks forward. The eyes now begins to look in a forward direction, and it has to develop to see far now, to see distance, and it has to develop and keep both eyes in place. Now, not because of devices, but because of many different reasons. There are children where one eye doesn't line up with the other eye, and we see that one eye tends to stray aside. We call this pokey eye in Trinidad, lazy eye,
Cross eye.
cross eye. So we tend to notice this type of thing in the eye itself. And if, for example, a child has a tendency, and what you call it, an esotropia, meaning one of the muscles is pulling in. When we look close, our muscles pull in. And if one of the muscles is naturally pulling in, if this child is constantly looking close, constantly on the devices, it will just make the situation worse. there are also many other conditions, not just one eye pulling in. It could be also one eye weak on the outside, and device use will affect these things. This is not no if or buts about it. It
Wow.
will affect. If the child has a tendency for it, it will worsen it and it will not help resolve it. So yeah, so it can affect it that way. Now, the World Health Organization, they also have a limit for the amount of device use in children. The funny thing is, it's out there, just people we don't want to accept the facts. People just don't want to understand that. Look, myself, I'm on device use so much. You could ask my wife how much times I say, look, I'm gonna try and stop using this device. And so much I know how addicted this device is.
Oh yes.
I can imagine for my child, for my daughter, when she growing up,
Yes.
they
Yes.
constantly. I never grew up in this. 15 years, I didn't have no device at all. When I up to 15 years, I didn't have nothing on smartphone, device, nothing like that. I don't know anything about anything. So, children these days starting from zero, and the World Health Organization for a child from 0 to 1 or 0 to 2 is zero screen time. It should be
Oh,
absolutely no screen time per day, which makes a lot of sense to me because at the end of the day, the Father in heaven never created us, never created our eyes, our ears, our nose, our whole body to not just be in devices, to just be set up the way we are set up today. We are
mhm.
set up in a sense that me myself get up first thing in this device. So
Yes.
if for at least 2 hours of my day, right, 8 hours of the day I'm working. After that 8 hours, 8 hours a day I'm sleeping. I have 8 hours remain. Out of that 8 hours, let's say for me myself, I take 2 hours, 6 hours a day. I'm not talking about the children. 6 hours a day
Mm-hmm.
remain to praise the Lord. Six
Mm-hmm.
6 hours a day out of it. And out of that 6 hours a day, we still have to cook, clean, do every other thing because the 8 hours is for work, the 8 hours is for sleep. 2 hours, we think this device giving us a lot of information, it giving us a lot, but it's 2 hours not spent on anything productive. But
Yeah.
3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours.
You say 8 hours sleep, but sometimes you find somebody they spend hours way into the night, like in early morning, losing.
And this brings up another key point in device use. Device use and blue lights has been shown to decrease the amount of melatonin level in individuals. In children, if you decrease the amount of melatonin levels, a child, you might think a child's sleeping, but they're not sleeping. They might be there on their bed as well. They might be on the devices, you might put them, the device might be off, but they now lying down and they're still awake because they have been in the light so much. Our body is darkness was made for a reason. The Father made light and darkness. Our eyes to close. Reason
That's
we have
right.
to get dark. Our
Yes.
eyes is not meant to be in lights
Yes.
constantly. It have sun.
True.
It have nighttime. We
That's,
not if sun was there right through every day, we would see a problem as well. But after the sun is down, TV, phones, all sorts of devices.
so at what point in the night would you say an hour before, 2 hours before should they no more tablet, no more phone, no more device, no TV, no kind of device. At least how much time would you recommend maybe before they go to bed?
Well, if well-being, you see, it's a good thing. I have a child, so I could say I can make strict recommendations for people. People have to understand that the first thing is to set up a way where it shouldn't be like a restriction. It should be something that you know device use like me and my wife. Remember, I understand device use, and my
Right.
child should understand it. But you could take me like something to be, like a fanatic. Like, hey, don't ever be on devices. So she have to make my child be like a normal child. Else the child would never be on no device, never at all. So all of our children know how to use device, but my child probably would never know how to use a device. In some sense, it might have some benefit. But she knows as well that at at after a certain time, you have to go and sleep. The device use, especially device use. For sure, my child, well, there has never been a no device, thing device, but the TV, yeah. But the device on the phones, there is never ever be on it. Only like if my wife give them it and she know like she in the health center and they're running about, she there by herself, she want to give them to sit down and relax.
Right.
So like, but it's not like they come home from when she well my child young 2 years, so she can't say nothing. But me,
Yeah.
after that, she becomes her own self. And she started to say, look, I need to use this device. And they're telling me, well, school need to have me. The problem is now school have them using it. So once they're using it in school, they would find a way to use it recreationally.
True.
So
Yeah.
we just have to let them know, look, it have other things out there. It have mango tree, it have trees, it have
And plum.
that they could learn to understand and development of a child. Because I look at this, my child, she doesn't be on no devices. And when like I see her around children that is always be on devices from 0 till 2 years. And simple things like putting on shoes and knowing how to tie shoelace, knowing left from right on the shoes, simple basic understandings
Right.
that a lot of children they don't have it. The development, they know how to do a lot of things. They're very smart. They know A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They know they're very, very smart. But the development, the use of hands, the use of coordination, the movements, moving with hands together, developing certain things that you expect
So,
a child
yeah.
to have.
Mhm.
You could see that it's less because most of the development, that's it. And the major 1 month for a child is major development.
Right.
2 months, 3 months. This is young, 0 to 2 years. And when we speak from 2 to 5 years, these are the age that children they start to go to school and they need to see far. Why is device a problem for this age now? So we kind of more touch on the 0 to 2 there. They're developing quick. We don't want them always on the devices. But when a child now they at an elderly age, we really want them to see far. Myopia is something that occurs regardless of device. Myopia is short-sightedness.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's one.
Myopia is something that has been linked genetic. We do see that a lot of people with myopia, they do have specific and certain genes. Now, other than that, epidemiological studies, this is studies that has checked cultures holistically, nations. This is not just small studies. They have shown that individuals who spend more time outdoors, who spend a lot of times doing things that doesn't have to be close, they are less prone to myopia. People who do a lot of close work, we see it with the reading association, just different things like that. It's associated. But with myopia, it's also there without too much reading. But in the big, large scale studies, they see this association and they see, okay, not this place doesn't have much devices, technology, reading books. These people, they spend most of their life outdoors. It's just the way of the region, how the region is. They see less myopia. It doesn't have to be that everybody who on a device will develop myopia, but because we see the association between the ages of 2 to 7, myopia is usually picked up. This is when children are in school, they start to look on the board, everything like that. The concern for devices, other than the concern that it can or it may affect, it may cause myopia, there is still this idea, there's still this thinking, but as a professional, we cannot really speak about things in a way that you know it's certain when really and truly there is no standard document to show that it's certain. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we do know there's some association with myopia and near use. But other than myopia, we know for sure in studies that children who use a lot of devices, who use a lot of near work, they have problems changing their eyes from close to far. So they have problems reading in the distance. This would now pose a problem because as a teacher in a classroom, they look out for a child that has problems seeing on a board. So if a child is using devices a lot of devices, and there is a child who is naturally myopic, okay? So there is a child who is always on devices, a child who is myopic. And the teacher sees these two children, same situation, cannot see on the board. They come to us at the moment the child is still in a induced myopic state. Their eyes, they are constantly looking close, so their muscles in the eyes, it's not really relaxing to see far. So in the examination, what we do is something called a cycloplegic refraction. We place some drops in the eyes, and this drop, it relaxes the muscle in the child's eyes. In a lot of children, what I have seen personally, so this is not in no studies in testing at least 700 children and seeing at least for sure guaranteed 300 that couldn't see what we call 20/20 after doing a cycloplegic refraction. So we did at least 700, 300 out of them. I for sure know that these 300 we did cycloplege, they did not need glasses. So it seemed like they need glasses to me. It made sense that they need glasses because they can't see, put on a glasses to strengthen, but all of a sudden relax their muscles. And we know that with the muscles relaxed because of the drops, they do not need glasses.
Wow.
But the problem is, this is with a drop that cannot be understood because it will be dangerous to use every day. It's a drop that relaxes the muscle. You do this every day, it will cause a problem. It is something that it will do something to your eyes. And a child is on the devices every single day, reading books, studying every single day. The problem with device use is not just device use, is that we also need to cater that a child needs to develop his career, his or her position in society. And the way how it's developed, they need and they must do near work most of the time, unless they feel is something else. They must do some sort of near work, whether it's book or devices, to get to that way. So other than spending most of their time developing themselves, there is also recreation. Each and every man has this need to do some sort of recreation for themselves. And the main recreation in society is this one thing, device use. The Farah gave us every single thing.
Yeah.
Should not be.
Beside this one recreation for us is this. The one thing that we have to use to develop our career is the same thing we want to use. So whole in every way we're using it. In too much ways we're using it. And I guess once we understand that, especially as a parent, the main thing is not for children to understand it, is for the parents to understand it. Because and children, I learned from my child. That little child I have there, she don't learn from yes and no and don't tell she nothing. She just learn from, can I just see what you're doing, and whatever you do, that's what she doing.
Right.
Yes, imitating.
So
Yeah.
she knows sometimes I just use my phone more than she, because I can tell she know. But when she see me on my phone, now she take my phone and she put it on. You know?
Because she know what to. Yes, wow.
You know, but at the end of the day, we just need. I just look like this place is a place to do it with God, and the Father in heaven just know how to treat, and He never give a man what he cannot go through. And that doesn't just go for man, it go for mankind. It
Yes.
goes,
Yes.
don't give people what he know they cannot go through. It don't means that what he give we have to stay in it. We have to go through it. You understand? These things that in our society, all these things that put in forward to us, we could look at it as a scientific standpoint. We know that it's bad, but once we look at it from a spiritual standpoint, from the standpoint of the Father in heaven, there is no doubts, there is no ifs, there is no buts. It didn't have to even be stated in the Bible because they say, the Bible never say nothing about phone or devices or anything like that. Commit yourself to the Father. It didn't say commit yourself. I don't want to say nothing about device. It didn't say commit yourself to work. It didn't say commit yourself to sleep. And this is two sectors in our life that we do have control of. You understand? The parts that we could commit ourselves to, we choosing to commit it to other things. And our children, they are the most peaceful, passionate, also corruptive, weird natured creatures in the world. And whatever we provide in front of them, the Father provide for around us trees, skies, nature, all these things. But what we providing around them is more than what the Father created, what He created. Now they have what He created and what man created, what we also created, what we loved, our passions. We created all these things in the world. We created cars, fancy house. We created every single thing that was available to us. Now these children, they have a greater battle than the people way before us. We
True.
have to sift
You have
through
to manage it, yeah. Manage
what
those.
is. That's right. We must see what is the Father's.
I have a question. You were going through the WHO standards for like the time children fed on device. You say from zero to one, none at all, or 0 to 2, 0 to 1, none at all.
And
What about?
then,
Uh-huh.
so let's go up till the maximum. Let's say teens.
Mm-hmm.
Teens now, they recommend around 0 to 4 hours, and that would be for adults as well.
But they,
Maximum. Yeah, maximum.
Wow.
Recreational time. Because there is nothing that can tell anyone don't do anything towards school or career. So when it comes to recreational, but this I believe 4 hours I believe is more for adults. Between 16 to 12, it's definitely no more than 2 hours. From 3 to around 7, 1 hour for the most, if possible. 1 hour for the most. And yeah, this is not something that I see a lot with the way how, and the problem when I ask parents, how long the child, and the parents would say, well, how much I try, but at the end of the day,
I,
they
I
find
have I have a question along that line. So I'm saying, how do you undo what you have done? How do you
how you
undo
started.
what you already started? It's something that you basically got them in the habit of being on a device for so many hours. How do we undo these things that we have done in order to get them more you know
Occupied, I think, and as you're saying, we have nature, we have things outdoors, we have things to do that they could do outdoors. I didn't grow up with device,
well, neither did I. Neither did I.
but you had good times, and you learned things from nature.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Doc.
Go ahead.
No, I understand. Definitely. The first thing I believe is that I am glad that I begin to understand that is not something that we would know. We wouldn't know how to to fight our battle. They would know. Telling you, because you might think that you could try everything, but you could also think that when we growing up, we had things running outside and going in the boat like in Trinidad.
Yeah,
In
picking
Trinidad,
plum, when I play cricket, playing
yeah,
a little. I think what we need to do as parents is to more or less yes, take away some of the screen time, but we need to replace it with things that are fun for them. All right. So if it is that we have to teach them how to play some kind of hand games, or teach them how to play cricket, or teach them how to play football, or maybe something else, some I don't know, teach them how to play cards, or something that you're with them, you're spending
Spending
time
time,
with
yeah.
them. All right. And even if it is that you cannot spend time with them, because there will be times where you, the parent, you'll be occupied, but you teach them things that they can do. So even if you're not there with them, they know how to have fun. All right, with each other, with their brother, their sister, with their friends, even by themselves, without having to turn to the tablet or the phone or whatever. That we have to come up with, as parents, we have to come up with these creative ways, because if we did not use the phone, we didn't have no cell phone and no
Yeah,
tablet and thing to
all
play
you had is a
on.
little TV, and they
Yeah.
have an antenna. You have to go and turn it to get to get a picture.
So we can find, I mean it might be a difficult thing, right, in trying to get them to be delighted in the things you are delighted in. All right, when I say that, now they have Technicolor TV, they have everything colored. You can't say try to bring them and look at a black and white TV. That maybe a bad example, but I'm just trying to say you have to get something that would kind of match up to what they are doing. In other words, if they're playing games on some tablet or something, get a game that is just as exciting, or something even more interesting that will get them, all excited, and so, all right. And that way they can see that they can be a replacement. All right. So if you say to them, okay, you only have 2 hours screen time today. All right. Only if you come home, you get your homework done first, and then maybe from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that's your hour for you can use your device. All other time is to be used for other things. All right. So that way, you kind of get involved with them
To
and help
try and
them to
limit it, yeah.
yes. I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that this is a problem, to me, it, I don't even know what to say. The fact that we need to think of it.
You see
Because it
how you
become a habit,
started
eh? It can become a habit, and sometimes habits are so hard
hard to
to
break.
break.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You started the right way with your child, but there are a lot of parents out there, it's like,
No,
look
I
at
I
tablet.
know because I
Right.
did this good for it.
Yeah.
I swear I could tell my wife I addicted to this phone. I say this
Yeah.
phone has to be addicted,
So we
and
have to find
I
ways to help them unlearn what they've learned.
yeah,
Yes.
the habits. Once you could do it for 28 days, we used to say back in the days, and
New
back in the day
habits.
wisdom,
New habits.
the best wisdom,
Yes.
28 days, and it's
Yes.
very simple because when you think about it, we might think that we have a lot of time, but we want to think so. When we're going through these devices, we have a lot of time. We watch, oh yeah, man, time. We have time.
Mhm. Time
Time
goes by
going
so
nice.
quickly. So
But
quickly.
if we're doing anything else that's hard, all of a sudden we don't have time. Once we
Yeah.
try and reach about
True.
8 or 9, I'm not saying something like about domestic work and thing, but if, for example, like basic understanding of a human is to learn and understand itself. By the time they reach home from work, somehow, like, I don't know how my wife engraved this in my child, but she more clean than me because my parents never trained me the way how she could train my child. Because my child is going to just pick up things from the ground, and I come and I put my
Enough
shoes in the
time.
room,
You have to
and,
train them.
so my
Puts it in
parents
the right
didn't like
place.
to train me, okay. But I learned to put my shoes in my room. She learned to put the shoes outside by the door. She pick it up and she put it
Right.
outside by the door. So
That's
it
right.
could show that the training that she have as a little child still better than the training I get. And the training that we could show, because we gain training from our parents, now we learn. So we could learn training on top of training. So
And mix
y'all
it.
learn, y'all learn a training that was there, the same training that we know that they would never know, that it had nothing to do with devices. So my parents and them had nothing to tell me about the device. Like, don't go on the device, don't do this. It's about other things. Don't go in the river too long. The rain go come down and throw you down. Certain things that
It's true.
was bad for us then you would wish you had to tell your children these things. Don't go in the river because you think we think. You wish you
Oh God.
If they ever see a river in their life.
You know?
everything changing. And you think go with the father. Even though society changing, in Trinidad we could have played before, we cannot play no river no more just so. The way how the situation is, the way how the crime, the way how everything
Yeah,
is.
things
Yeah,
different.
things have
Things are
changed
different.
a lot.
Most people indoors no more, most people on the device more. Grenada youth, the device use is not the same as Trinidad youth device use.
No.
I see in Grenada, I see children outside flying kite. I see
Yeah.
flying people just do their thing. You know,
Yes.
children here but you see where I'm from. I am from Grenville area.
Mhm.
And I used to live in Belmont. In Belmont and St. George's. When a
Right.
child is out, it's rude.
Mhm.
So it have nothing recreational to do for a child in that area.
Right.
They,
Right.
they still used to try and fly kite on top roof.
Right. Yes.
And on top roof to fly kite. But
Yes.
obviously in the more areas where it have less houses in Grand area, children could go out, river, play, run about, do whatever they have to do.
Yes.
Because it have children here that has come passing 4 years old. That can never happen in Trinidad. And everybody know them. This person know them, that person know them, everybody know them. And it's just a community setting,
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
slowly eroding because every child now gets in a device. And instead of coming out to play, every child outside, you know what, I'm going to stay inside and see what they're doing in America, see what they're doing in Australia, see what they're doing in Canada.
Right.
And no studying going on in their own country. Nobody studying. And as children, how children could learn and become something, because from young they learn the country. So instead of studying how to make snow and snowballs and things in America, not make, we're not make trees. How not make trees?
Yes, yes. You know what? As you mentioned those things, another
Yeah.
possible solution to some of this can be reviving of our community groups, where you have the older ones. You know, you might have, okay, let's say on a Wednesday you have cricket. So all the little boys or the little girls, whoever wants to learn cricket can come out and learn. You know, you have maybe a 2 hours of cricket, or you might have somebody teaching I don't know, teaching to cook. We had these little cooking classes, you know, you send your little child and they're learning how to cook, how to fry egg, and little, if we revive or if we put together
Yeah.
some community
There
groups, we
were
can have
games
these
we
things
played
going.
like rondas.
Yeah.
We played rondas growing up.
I love that too. I used to play
Children
rondas.
nowadays don't know what is rondas.
Yes.
I was amazed
And the
because
problem is that the older ones have to teach the younger
Yeah.
ones. That's where
Right,
that's
because
yes.
the children, what children could do is what they have power to do. They have
Yeah.
power to use the devices. They don't have power to get 20 children from the community to come out and play football. One
Right.
child might try it, but they don't have the power. Adults have the power.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
So, and that the simple thing you're saying there, children love competition. You feel children love devices. We might love devices, but they have devices. That's what they have. But if you form, boy, we have in a competition, a cricket competition,
Hey.
or trust me, if you the way how I grew up, it has so much things for children to do, especially in Grenada. It has sheep racing, goat racing. You could race on donkey, you could race on horse, race on cow. And this is things like baby cow thing. Children go fly kite. Who fly the longest kite? It have that once a year. But children fly kite every day in Grenada. Children like
Yes,
but
yes,
I
yes.
think
Good chance.
yeah, true.
they love to fly kite. If you have a competition about flying kite and they like competition, people say, well, they don't do
Yeah,
competition.
who make they like to make kites
When
too.
they're on
Who won't look
Easter,
the
they
best?
probably do
Who won't
that,
look the
yeah.
best? Who one is the smallest and the
Yeah.
prettiest or the whatever? Yeah, they like competitions. That's a
Short
good way to
side
do.
football, short
Yes.
side small overs cricket, you know, badminton and stuff, tennis,
Tennis, yeah.
volleyball. We are real beach here, volleyball, like what?
Yeah.
You know? So
Really
much beach. You don't need nothing but a ball for volleyball. You don't even need a net because you can play volleyball with one divide.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And then you have so much professional volleyball players. You're watching them on the on Grand Hands there. You don't even know how we're going on. All these people get so bad. And
Yeah.
I don't hear about it. And they ride in Grenada, Grenadians playing. You seeing men training them. Certain things government get with people, but you see, we talk about government and thing, but we is the government. We the
Mm.
people is the government. They can't say the government do this because unless we do something, it would never happen. As
Yeah.
people.
Support.
We need to
Yeah.
get involved. We need to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. We need to get involved and get things happening, get things moving, and that's why I really believe in our little community groups and even programs like these.
Mhm.
It's a way of stirring up the community and letting people know what we can do when we educate people and they understand the kind of problems that can happen later on in life, for the eyes and your child, and even with those who are adults now and growing old, and the screen time, and if people are educated in such a way, then they take the knowledge and they make something of it. All right, even the suggestions that we give in now, somebody somewhere might hear the suggestion and might decide, listen, I need to start up a little community group, I need to start a little football club, I need to start this, I need to start that, and that's how we get things going, as
Somebody had to take
adults,
an
to make a
initiative, yeah?
difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't even call for it. You look in certain places in any country, children playing football, they don't have no light. So they
Right.
want to play, but 5 or 7 o'clock in the night, they don't have no light for them to play. So the places where they want to play, they call in for adults to come and say, look,
Right.
by the time we don't work, we have no time. We don't do we out. We it's only the Father in heaven that will bless us, show us the way, because we don't have a way. We working, we're going to sleep, and then after the 6 hours that we have, we don't have the potential and the strength to actually bring forward our next generation, to far less bring forth ourselves.
Right.
We so captured in we're not even in God at all no more. We might think we're in God once a Sunday, 2 hours a day, but we're not in God. We're not showing God. We're not. If we wasn't God, then you'd have seen all over the videos, Christians all over talking about God every single day. Nobody fed up. People fed up here about this one. People fed up here. It's not so. We go to work. We do what we have to do. We go and sleep, and then with the next 8 hours, we try to pull ourselves. We can't
Yeah.
even
Should not.
pull each other and
Yeah.
pull them. So the best thing is to pray to Jesus Christ, the Father in heaven.
It
That is the
shows
only
the way, yeah.
Is the way.
Mhm.
Well, it's actually a whole hour has passed, and our program is actually up for today. But we just want to thank you personally, Dr. Singh, for taking the time off to be on Team Family today. We really appreciated you being on and sharing all this information with us. It has been a pleasure.
No
Do you have
problem.
any last words before
No,
we
no,
end
no.
today?
Yeah, that should be fine. But thank you very much for having me. That's it. And bless
Yes.
everybody.
Thank you for coming and for showing up on Team Family today, and for all the wealth of information you shared. Is a lot to think about. So God blessings in all your endeavors.
Okay, thank you very much. Y'all have a nice day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, for those of you listening out there, again, we want to thank you for joining us on Team Family today. It has been an honor. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back next week with another interesting conversation on the family. So, don't miss it. Don't miss out. All right. So, have a great week. Have a good evening. And thank you again, Dr. Singh.
Thank you.
All right.
Blessings to you and your family.
Blessings. Have a good
Amen.
evening.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, you can't touch me. Lucifer, you can't touch me. Furthermore, take your filthy hands off me, family. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what you pray and say in the morning. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what you pray and say in the morning. Warfare time when you're under the blood. Them demons will shake and tremble. Satan is a hold of it, so we mash up the plan.